Okay, this is pretty much the final video for this mini-series. In the first two parts, we covered how to model the pillars and then we sculpted them in ZBrush. So for this one, I just textured it using like only the Blender shader editor. And if you want to follow along with the series, I'd suggest watching the other two videos. So the goal was to make this like a worn out marble look, and I just like mixed in some dirt textures with a marble material. And then, I added some edgewear and some grunge. So I'm going to show the whole process on how to make this material so you could use it in your future renders. Or you could just repeat the same process with like a stone bricks material, a sandstone, or like anything else. Like this workflow is going to work pretty well with anything. And of course, like if you want to tweak anything to your own liking, you could do that. It's a simple setup. You just have to move some of the sliders and like you'll have your own look. You don't have to go exactly the way I do it. It's all up to like personal preference at the end of the day. Alright, so I'm just gonna get out of the way now and I'll start the video. Alright, so before I start texturing this, I want to decimate it down because we're just too high poly right now. So I'm gonna go into Z plugin, and before you decimate, what you want to do is pre-process all. Kind of just processes your whole mesh, and the actual decimation process becomes much faster because all the data is already processed by your CPU, I believe. So I already did this because it takes some time. So once you do like the pre-process all, you could either do decimate current or decimate all. I'm gonna do current first. I kind of want to go one by one with these. Yeah, so decimate all is gonna decimate them all like at the same time. I currently have this selected, so when I do decimate current, only that piece is gonna be affected. So I was just like, trying out different values. By default, I think it's gonna be around 20%, so let's just try that. Alright, it's done. Yeah, you can see we have a much less dense mesh now. 800,000 points, that's still like way too much to be honest, so I think we could push this further. Let's go like maybe 7%. Oops. Alright, 320,000, and still looks pretty much the same almost, at least from a distance. So I think I'll even go lower than this. Let's try 3%. Okay, now we're at 160,000, and it still looks pretty much the same as what we had before. So I'm just gonna keep going as low as I can. Obviously, like the less topology you have, the more optimized it is. It's gonna be. Try maybe something even lower than 1%. Okay. Yeah, you see now, like you could actually see the faces, but I think this is still fine. Like what I have in mind is like it would be at least this far away from the camera if I was making a scene in Blender. So like you can't even tell from this distance, and it holds up pretty well. And like we went from like I think 4.2 million points down to 32,000 points, so this is more than good enough for me. And I'm just gonna decimate all the rest of the pieces now, and then I'll export this to Blender. Okay, I'm back in Blender, and as you can see, like we have a pretty low poly mesh compared to before at least. So what I'm gonna do is I'll open a separate window and I'll make this the shader editor. Also real quick, before we start adding nodes, let's just select all and then Control L, link materials. Well, for ZBrush at least, it like exports everything with a separate material. So if you did the ZBrush route, like just make sure to do that. So first what I'm gonna add is a pointiness node. And how we get that is we add a geometry node first. And then you select this pointiness. You can plug that into the base color for now. So I'm going to show you what this does. You have to be in rendered preview. I'm going to use cycles. Well, let's actually add a light as well. And maybe we could do a sun. And let's make it 10. No, that's too much. 3. Yeah, that's fine enough, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what this does exactly. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna have to add a color ramp here first. Okay. So basically what it's doing is it's taking all of our cavity information, and what it's doing is putting like the color black in all the deeper parts, like all the cracks and crevices, and then like everything that's not going inwards inside the normals, it's making that white. So if I adjust this, like you'll see what I'm talking about. If I go back here, you know, it's looking a bit odd. We kind of don't want it to look exactly like that. So what you want to do is add a color for now. Obviously we're going to use like a marble texture, but like I'm just setting it up this way for now. So what I'm going to do is add a mix color node, and I'm actually going to put this in B. And what we're going to do is we're going to just make this a bit brighter. Put this in A, and then set the blending mode to multiply. So now it's like not as harsh. So now you could even like push it a bit more if you want. And we could even play with the factor, like the more you push it, the more it's gonna be. I kind of want it to be this much. Actually, to be honest, yeah, the black value is a bit too much right here, so let me just dial it down just a little bit. All right. So now, after you do that, I also kind of want to add some ambient occlusion. So all we do is search up ambient occlusion, and I'll duplicate this mix color node, and I'll even duplicate this color ramp. And you're going to plug the AO into the color ramp and the color into B. Now, yeah, this might be a bit too extreme, so I'm just going to push back the black values a bit. Okay, so now like everything is popping out a bit more. Like you can see more of what's going on with all the details on the mesh. And honestly, first I'm gonna tweak the sunlight a bit. Like the shadows are just way too harsh. I'm just gonna increase the angle a little bit. Maybe this much is fine for now. So now I'm gonna start adding in some like images for the marble texture. All you really need for marble, to be honest, is the base color and the roughness maybe. But usually it's just gonna be like a uniform anyway. Like if I plug this into the roughness right now. Oh, that's weird. Oh, okay, I see what's wrong. My metallic is set to 1. Yeah. So yeah, it's just kind of looking way too shiny. I don't want that. So I'm probably just gonna use the base color. So we're just gonna take this and replace it with the white color right here. And now I'm just gonna add in a mapping node using Control T. And to do that, you need to have the Node Wrangler add-on enabled. So right now you can't really see anything because we haven't like unwrapped this object, or sorry, these objects. So I'm just gonna go into edit mode, U. You could either do a smart UV project, but I'm just gonna do a cube projection. And I think I'll scale this by 2. Yeah, and I could somewhat see it. Maybe I'll even use a color ramp to bring out the detail a bit more. And now you can see some of the details on the marble texture. Okay, so the texture looks cool and all, but I kind of don't want it to be like a super white looking texture. I do want this to look a bit more older. So what I'll do is I'll just make this like a slight yellow. Bring down the value a bit. And then I'll duplicate this. Just plug that into there. See, now it kind of has like a tint to it. To increase the factor, yeah, I'll do it even more. Maybe I could set this to like a brighter color. So that one was a bit too dark. Yeah, something like this, you know. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, so with all that out the way, now we kind of want to add an edgeware type of look. I'm gonna add an ambient occlusion node, and I'll also add a color ramp, and I'll put this in here. So I'm just gonna show you what it's doing exactly, like by like just Control-Shift-Click on that. You could see like the ambient occlusion is all in all these like places where things are kind of close to colliding with each other. So if we decrease the distance, let me just make it 0.1, make it even less, something like that. And then we set it to inside. So now like it's the black color is gonna be like around these hard edges for our object. If I just add some more contrast, you'll see. I just want to find like a sweet spot. Maybe I'll push it even more, something like that. So what we want is like we want the edgeware to be where all these black spots are, but like the way it is right now, if we just add it to here, like nothing's gonna show up. So we need to set it up in a way that it does show up as like a brighter color on these hard edges. So the actual black color, you want to set it to 1. And you just want to double check, make sure this is at a value of 1. And now you want to set this to like something brighter than a value of 1, so like 5. And now you could see we have this like showing up as a brighter color. And obviously this is like a bit too uniform in some areas, so what we could do is break it up a bit by mixing in a noise texture. So just search up noise and then plug this into the color B and give it a mapping node and set it to object. This is just to like avoid distortion. So now if we Control-Shift-Click on this, like we could just make sure that the scale is what we want, give it a bit more detail and add a bit of roughness. And also we want to set this to add. So now you can see it's like broken things up a bit. Maybe decrease the factor. Just somewhere around there. I think I like that much. Or could use a color ramp. Just push the blacks and whites of the actual noise texture. Now if we go back here, you can see it's breaking it up in a much nicer way. So I'm gonna go back here and actually back here, I'm gonna add another multiply node. Increase the factor for now. Then I'm gonna plug this color into B. And now you can see all this nice edgeware here. Obviously it's too strong. So I'm just gonna keep decreasing this until it's like subtle enough that I could see it, but it's not like too extreme. I think this is fine for now. Yeah, this should be okay. Now what I want to do is maybe add in some grunge. So I'm just gonna add another noise texture. And I'm just gonna multiply it on top of everything. Let's just move this further. It's getting a bit large, but like it's simple. Like it's nothing too complicated. Like as long as you're just following the steps. And like just practicing and seeing what all these are doing, if you're following along, like you'll eventually understand how this works, and you'll just be able to like keep doing it repeatedly whenever you're making environments. So I'm gonna add a color ramp. Plug the factor into here, and then plug this color into here. Now we just need to, yeah, you see, like, I don't have a mapping node on this, and you can see the distortion. So let me just add one with Control T. Set this to object, and now it's much better. Though the scale is a bit too large, kind of wanted a bit smaller, something like this. Then we could crank up the detail and the roughness, and then, you know, just adjust how much we want. I think this much should be fine, like something like that. And then we could play around with the factor down here. You can see like it's adding in nicely, but I think maybe it's a bit too much right now. Just push it back subtly until we're fine, happy with it. So yeah, this looks pretty decent so far. Now I kind of want to maybe add in some dirt everywhere and play around with the roughness. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a whole separate Principled BSDF shader, and I'm going to hit Control Shift T. I'm going to add all these like maps for the dirt material into here. Okay, I don't need that. So what I'm going to do is add a mix shader. I'm going to plug this into here. So I'm going to add a pointiness node to drive the factor. So I'll also add in a color ramp. Plug the pointiness into here and plug that into the factor. So if I start like switching this up a bit, yeah, you're gonna see that everywhere that it's gonna be white, that's where the texture is gonna get added. So I'll actually flip the color ramp. I'll push this back a bit. I don't want this to be everywhere. Just want it to be in like certain crevices. So let's see what this is giving us. Yeah, it's still not white enough, I think. So if I add in more white, yeah, you'll see it's starting to appear. It looks really low resolution, so in the mapping node, I'll increase this to maybe a scale of 3. And now you can see some more of the dirt details. Yeah, so now it's like looking really, really worn out. Like it's, you could really sell the old look with this, but I think I kind of want to push this back just slightly. I think it's okay now. Yeah, this should be fine. Other than this, I think we could maybe add in some moss as well, but I'm not sure. I think maybe this should be fine, to be honest. Yeah, this is all right. Now, one more thing, we do want to add in like some variety to the roughness. So what I'm going to do for that, I'm going to use this same pointiness. I just duplicated it twice. Just going to use this to drive the roughness. So just going to plug that into there. Now it's kind of not doing exactly what we want, because the whatever value is going to be black is going to be the one that's shiny, and the white is going to be like more rough. So yeah, you could see like only the cracks and crevices of this are shiny. We kind of want the opposite, so I'll just flip it. Now I just want to make sure only some of the parts that are popping out have this effect. Maybe we could push it a bit more. Let's just see what it looks like. Yeah, kind of something like this, but I feel like it's maybe too shiny. Yeah, let's actually take this back a notch. Maybe still too much. Okay. Now I think it should be fine. It's looking a bit alright now, but I think it may be still too dark. So I'll just push this back way more. Yeah, now it's fine, to be honest. So now, like, we just have this really nice looking, like, ancient Greek pillar that we could, like, use in our renders. This could be a pretty good, like, background object, or you could even, like, have a character looking at it from here, and you could just add in more Greek architecture, like a whole temple, just using, like, this exact same material. So yeah, this was basically my process. Like, this is how I mostly texture all my things. And if you guys want to see more stuff like this, let me know. And thank you for watching.